Hello, everybody. We'll just wait a few minutes. Let some people join. I am actually using Dwayne's computer and webcam, so I'm used to looking this way. So this is going to be a little different for me tonight. We are in our new house now, and my office is not set up because I have been setting up the rest of the house. So Dwayne's office is partly set up, and so his office was in better condition for me to do this live tonight than mine is currently. We are still working on our lighting in here. We're dealing with the builder grade lights, so bear with us. It is a little dark and grainy, but you're mainly wanting the information, so that's what you're here for, the information. We're going to wait for a few people to come on. Hi, Jim. Hi, Trina. Hi, Faye. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Jason. Glad you all could join. I'm just going to wait just a few more minutes and let some more of our students jump on here. We have about almost 300 members in this group. Is this the students only group? Yes, that I'm looking at. We have close to 300 students now, so this is pretty awesome. We love helping you guys. Sorry that I have been out of the loop for a few months. You will be hearing a lot more from me starting in August. I know you guys probably think Dwayne's pretty awesome, but I am his better half. I was actually in real estate before he was, and so we have fed off of each other for, well, probably close to 17 years now. I am the crazy one that goes out and does things and just proves everybody wrong. When they say, oh, well, that won't work, or that's a dumb idea, or I don't think people will respond to that. I just go and do it because I've got to know for myself. And what I am about to share with you guys is one of those things that I was laying in bed at night, early in my real estate career. And, I think about things like, okay, well, where are the holes in my business? That is one of the things that you guys need to continually ask yourself. Where are the holes in my business? How can I patch those holes? How can I make my business better? How can I get more business with less effort? Or how can I maximize my efforts? One of my favorite sayings is, it's not how hard you work, it's how smart you work. So stop working so hard and start working smarter. Work smarter, not harder, is how most people say that. I'm going to share a story about me and Dwayne early on. Our first year in the business together, we were competing against one another. And, Dwayne always likes to toot, I'm the best there is, and he really is. He's really, really good at what he does. I'm sure you guys have found that out. So he's sitting there at the end of the year and he's calculating how many commissions he made versus how many commissions I made. And I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, he's done more business than me. I'm not going to get all cocky and go, well, I did more business than you. So he's over there and he's like, I know I did circles around you being all cocky. And then all of a sudden he got quiet. And I'm like, well, are you going to tell me what our numbers are? He's like, you're not going to believe this. And I said, what? And he goes, you made 5 cents more than me. And I was like, what? I made 5 cents more than you? So it's not always how hard you work, it's how smart you work, because Dwayne had more clients that year than I did, but I maximized my efforts. So I'm going to show you a few tricks on how you can maximize your efforts and get more bang for your buck. Okay, so we're not necessarily going to worry too much about where the leads come from, because you know that Dwayne's going to get you leads. That part of it he's got covered. I'm talking about you already have the lead. Now, when I first started doing this concept, this technique, so to speak, I was actually working expireds and withdrawals. Now, it was during a time the market had not come back yet. This was shortly after the crash, about 2 years after the crash. The market had not come back yet. We were kind of on that precipice where, you know, buyer confidence was coming back up, and, you know, sellers had gotten their feelings hurt, and they realized that their homes were not worth what they thought they were, and they're not going to be able to just to sell them, you know, the minute they put them on the MLS. So there was a, you know, there was a course correction in the market, as we call it. So I started working expireds and withdrawals. Now, this concept applies to any kind of listing lead. It doesn't matter where you got the listing lead. You can do this with expireds and withdrawals. If your market still has people who have listed that didn't sell. I know in the Nashville market, where we did the majority of our business throughout our 17 years, expireds and withdrawals, by now they have already relisted and sold. So this may not work in every single market for expireds and withdrawals, but on our listing campaigns that we offer, it will work. Okay, so I went through the list of expireds and withdrawals, and I identified those who had not sold their home. And there's several ways to do that. Obviously, you can look at tax records, or you can type in the same address in your MLS that, you know, basically shows you the history. I'm sure each MLS is different, but for the most part, I would think you could type in an address and see the MLS history, how many times it's been listed, the last time it was listed, if it was withdrawn, expired, relisted, if it's sold. You get the idea. You don't want to apply this concept to properties that have already sold. You're wasting your time, you're wasting your gas. It's worth it to do a little bit of research in advance. You're going to spend probably 2 to 3 hours on a Thursday or Friday to do this research. But I guarantee you, if you follow this formula step by step, you will get 1, if not 2 listings out of this. And you're going to be blown away at how easy it is, how simple it is. Anybody can do this. You do not have to have sales experience. You do not have to be a super realtor. You don't even ever have to have listed a home before for this to work for you. You can be brand new and have never listed a home for this concept to work with you, to work for you. Okay, so once I would go back about 2 years is how far I would go back when I was doing expireds and withdrawals. And I would identify, now I would have a list of people that, okay, these people listed their home at some point in the last 2 years, and they have not sold their property. Now, there are several reasons why they haven't sold. Number one, the place could be a dump. And let's face it, just because you're a realtor and you may be hungry, and you may want to take every single client that comes your way. But let me warn you right here. There are some clients you do not want to take. There are some properties you do not want to list. If it needs a lot of work and it's in an area where homes aren't moving quite as fast, especially if the people do not have very much equity, you are going to be spinning your wheels. You're going to be spending a lot of time on the phone with them explaining why their property hasn't sold. And the reality is it's because it's a dump and it needs work. And a lot of times in those situations where they're equity tight and the place needs repair, they usually don't even have the money to do the repairs. So it's kind of a catch-22. Unfortunately, you're not a miracle worker. You can't help those people. So I would go a step further and I would look at the pictures, and then I would see if I could identify by the listing why it didn't sell. You could look at comps if you want. Don't spend a whole lot of time doing research on a property. I mean, don't sit there for 30 minutes and try to determine, why didn't this sell? Do I want this listing? Is this, don't waste your time on that. You're going through them just as quick as you can to identify which properties you think are viable. This is only if you're doing expireds and withdrawals. This obviously, some of the other steps that I'm telling you will apply to leads that you get from our system. But again, I'm trying to cover every aspect of where the listing came from. Obviously, if it was a friend or neighbor or something like that, that's completely different. This isn't even a concept you'd want to apply there. I'm trying to show you the process. Okay, so now you've identified them. You've identified the listings that you want to go after. Then you're going to want to map them out. I go to MapQuest It's an old site that's been around forever, but they have a really cool app that you can download on your phone, or you can use it on your computer. Basically, you can just upload all your addresses and it will sort them based on your start point and your end point, which is typically the same. So it'll take you in a big circle and it'll tell you to go to this house, this house, this house, this house, boom, 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 boom. And it'll map it out for you. Now, when I used to do this many moons ago, that did not exist. I had to manually type them in each time and then drag and drop the little icon to get to make a circle. So I wasn't, driving over here and then 2 hours back this way and an hour up here. I was just hitting them about every 5 to 10 minutes because you want to make a route. Otherwise, you're going to be driving all day on Saturday. And Saturday is the day that you want to go out. So you want to do this research earlier in the week. You want to have all this laid out before you go out. Because if you don't, you're going to waste a lot of time and gas. So trust me on this one. It's a little bit of extra work to map them out, but you're going to be thankful that you did at the end of that. At the end of that first day, you're going to be like, oh, thank God I took the extra 10 minutes to map these out. First of all, you won't get to them all if you don't. Okay, so now you've mapped them out. You've identified who you're going to go see. You've determined that they have not sold their home and that it is potentially a viable property, and you've mapped them out. So what are you going to give them when you show up at the door? You can't just show up empty-handed. I mean, you could, but it doesn't work as well. So this is what I do. I have these little gift bags that I got at the Dollar Tree. I love the Dollar Tree. I have gotten more marketing materials at the Dollar Tree than I ever did online. These, you get them 3 for $1. They come in different colors. You can get black, red, blue, yellow, white, paper bag color even. At one point, the company that I was with, their colors were blue and red, so I would get the blue bags. At another point, I was with a company that had their colors were black and red, so I did a black bag. It's just, if you want to try to match it up to your company logo, you can. You can go a step further and you can order like little peel-off stickers that have your company logo and maybe your name, phone number, or whatever. You could put them on the front to make it look even nicer. But honestly, I think the less fancy your marketing piece is, the better, because it makes you real. It makes you come across as just an ordinary person. You're not some flashy salesperson. People, first of all, whether you realize it or not, as a realtor, you are a salesperson. Your job is to sell someone a house or to sell their house to someone else. So you may not, nobody may have ever told you that. You may not realize that you're a salesperson. You may be like, I don't want to be a salesperson. Well, you are. But people don't really like salespeople. So it's okay for you to be a salesperson as long as they don't know it. So you want to come across as friendly. You want to come across as helpful. You want to come across, I come across as the girl next door. They see me. They're like, oh, she's so nice. She's so friendly. What they don't realize is I'm a salesperson by nature. I can sell anybody anything, and I've done very well with it. But they don't want that. They don't want that until it's time for you to sell their house. They don't want to be sold, but they want you to sell their house. So, people are complicated. We all know that. It's psychology. There's a lot of psychology in real estate. But here's the beauty behind the bag. Okay, so I show up at the door. There's several things that I'm going to have in my hands. And I'm going to go through them step by step and the psychology behind why I have these things when I go to the door. Okay, so first of all, I have this gift bag in my hand. And I'm holding it in one hand. And I'm just kind of swinging it. Just a little. Just to kind of pique their interest. Now, I don't care if you're 3 years old, 30 years old, or 100 years old. Somebody shows up at the door with a gift bag. I don't care who they are. Human nature is going to be what's in that bag. Is that for me? Do I want what's in that bag? It's like you're almost teasing them a little bit. Okay, it's really, honestly, to me, it's a lot of fun. It's almost like a game. So here's why it's a game. So I have my my badge. This is Amanda Roberts, eXp Realty. I just had them printed. It's just a little silver badge. I got it printed online. I got 2 of them. It's a magnet. Can't find it right now. It's in a box somewhere. Like I said, we just moved into our new house, so I have no idea where it's at. But anyway, I have that on at all times. When I'm door knocking, I think it's crucial that you have a name tag on, because it immediately identifies you as a professional. When someone comes to my door, I want to know who you are and why you've interrupted my day, and you better tell me real quick before I lose it. You know what I mean? Let's face it. You're on the couch, you're watching TV, you're relaxing, or you're doing laundry, or you're making dinner, or you're doing something you're not wanting to be sold. So you have to think about from the seller's perspective, okay? But you have something they want. At one point, they wanted to sell their house if it's an expired or withdrawn. If they visited your landing page that we can go into further detail, Dwayne can go into further detail with that. If they visited your landing page and they took the time to type in their address and maybe even their name and their phone number and their email address, there's something that's got them thinking about moving. And if you can get them the right price for their house and sell it in the right time frame, and if they're staying in the area, help them find another property, why wouldn't they? With the exception of packing boxes and moving, but obviously that has to happen, so that's not your problem. You have to get them dreaming. You have to figure out what their pain point is. So who cares if they got interrupted watching TV or cooking dinner when you ring the doorbell? Who cares? You are, in essence, their angel, their knight in shining armor. You have come to rescue them, save the day, to help them move on to their next, to pursue their dream. Maybe they want a bigger house. Maybe they want a smaller house. Maybe they want land. Whatever that is, you are there to make it happen. So you need to go in with the mindset, number one, that you are not some door-to-door salesperson that they think has shown up at their door. That's why you wear your badge, because they can look at your badge, read your name, eXp Realty, or whoever it is that you're with, and they immediately go, it's a realtor. People, it's sort of a posture thing. They will change their attitude a little bit when they realize you're a realtor. Most people respect realtors. They really do. We sort of have a prestigious position, so to speak. You will find those people that don't like realtors. Well, guess what? That's a FSBO. You know, FSBO's not going to visit your site anyway, so don't worry about them. We can talk more about converting a FSBO later if you like a challenge. I really don't prefer to work with a FSBO, but that's a whole nother training session. So you've got your name tag on, you've got your bag in hand. What's in the bag? Well, I'm going to tell you what's in the bag. There's 3 things. 3 things are in the bag. There's a loaf of bread that you got at a local bakery, or a little bag of cookies, some little sweet treat. Don't go cheap and go to the Dollar Tree and get candy. That's not something you want to use at the Dollar Tree for this, okay? You want to get something that when they eat it, they're going to go, oh, this is good. That they're going to be thankful that you came. They're going to remember you after you're gone. I prefer to do these little mini loaves of bread. Now, in the Nashville area, there's a bakery. We would get anywhere from a dozen to 2 dozen at a time. I typically try not to schedule more than a dozen of these a week. So you don't want to go get 5 dozens of loaves because they're going to go bad. Now, the particular loaves that I was getting, you can freeze them, but you got to remember to take them out the day before. So they come wrapped in little cellophane. They fit perfectly down inside this bag. You just drop them down in, and the loaves literally fit perfect in the bag. So maybe go ahead and get your bags and take them to the bakery with you. Tell the baker what you're doing. Tell the bakery what you're doing. Say, look, I'm using this as a marketing piece. I'm going to be ordering probably a dozen of these a week. And what kind of deal can you do for me? You know, they usually will give you 10, 20% off, you know, if you go in. I think we were spending about $2.50 on the loaf. That was the most expensive thing that went in this bag. Okay, so that's that. Then, and of course, it's in a box, so I can't show you, but you've probably seen these. It's refrigerator magnets that have like a little grocery pad or things to do or to-do list attached to it, and there's a place for your business card. I would get these made. I think I got it down to 50 cents each. I can give you guys the link later on. I think I ordered like 100 of them. I don't remember what the quantities was off the top of my head. I still have a few left somewhere, but I've got to change out some things. So anyway, you get them for about 50 cents a piece. This is not something you want to skip, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. This is the most important part of this gift bag, is that refrigerator magnet with your business card on it. If you don't put that in this bag, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your gas, and you're wasting your time, and you're wasting your money on the bag and the bread and everything else. You have to have that refrigerator magnet notepad. Don't just put your business card in there. Don't just put your business card on a magnet in there. That won't get put on the fridge. The notepad will, and I'll explain that in a few minutes. The next thing that you're going to want to put in here is a flyer about their house. Now, I had a fairly generic flyer that I used that had places for plug and play. I would put, I'll have to pull it up in Word, and I can also put that in the group for you guys to use, and you can tweak it to however you want, because like I said, it is in Word. I had certain wording about, I believe that your home could bring as much as, and the fill in the blank, in today's market based on certain criteria, blah, blah, blah. There was wording in there that was kind of loose that, you know, if I looked up the comps real quick, just did a real quick look, and I thought the house was worth $300,000, but it needed $20,000 of work, you know, I'm not going to be stuck at that $300,000 mark. You know, use words like could, potentially, possibly, things like that. So, but I'll always put the highest amount the market could bear, because people want to know what's the most I can get for my house. Well, in excellent condition, this is the most you can get for your house. So I have that little spot on the sheet for fill in the blank. And then I also put, I went a step further, and I looked at their particular neighborhood on how quickly homes were selling in that neighborhood. Now, if you're in an area where homes are not selling, you know, let's say 30 days or less, if it's taking more than 30 days for homes to sell, you can just leave that part off. But I was using that in particular areas where homes were selling in less than 30 days, because now what you've done is you have removed several barriers just on your initial, you know, your initial flyer to them. A generic flyer that I'm the best realtor in town and I can list your home and sell it in 24 hours for top dollar, blah, blah, blah. That, they don't care about that. They don't care about you as a realtor. They don't care about how fast you can sell a home. They don't care about any of that. What they care about is, how much is my house worth and how fast can it sell? That's all they care about. So that's really what the flyer is designed to do, is to tell them how quickly you can sell it and how much you can sell it for, and then you've got your information on it. So when I'm at the door and I'm standing there and I'm just, you know, it's down by my side, but I'm just kind of swinging it. That's good for people who have nervous energy too. You can just sit there and just kind of swing it. Don't drop it. Don't be goofy, you know. Just hold on to it. Make sure you got a good grip on the back, because you don't want to be goofy on your first impression, right? So my game, I guess you can call it, is I want to see how quickly I can get them to start telling me their life history, because they will. They will. So you're standing there. You've got your name tag on. You're dangling this bag. They have no idea what's in the bag. And this is what I say, you know, and I can even give you guys a script. Hi, my name is Amanda Roberts. I'm with eXp Realty. You visited my website, or you had your home for sale at one time, and I see that it didn't sell. Well, what I'm doing is just out and about today, and I thought I'd bring you by this gift with some information on your home and just, you know, see if you're still interested in selling and find out what's got you thinking about moving. It's less than 30 seconds. Keep it simple, stupid. Just kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. And so then shut up. Don't say another word. And you wait and you smile. And sometimes it's awkward, especially if it's an introvert and you've took them off guard. Then the first person who speaks loses. So you don't want to be the next person to speak. You have to wait. And then here it comes after the awkward silence. Well, yeah, John thinks he might be getting relocated, and well, you know, the kids are grown now and it's just me and him, and this place is just so big, and da 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 da. And they just start telling you all about it. All about it. And when that happens, your foot's in the door. Doesn't mean you got the listing. Doesn't mean you're home free yet, but you kind of like at first base with them, you know, if you want to use that analogy. So then once they, you know, tell you all this, you've got something to work with. Okay, so you want something smaller if that was their problem. Well, are you, you know, if they didn't say they're relocating, are you planning on staying in the area? Well, yeah, we love this area. Okay, great. So what is this house? About 3,000 square feet? 3,200. Okay, so what are you thinking? You want to go down to 2,500, maybe 2,000? What I'm doing here is I'm not talking about their existing home. I really don't care about that right now. What I'm trying to do is, this is all psychology, I'm trying to get them to let go of it. How do you get somebody to let go of something they currently have? You get them thinking about what they don't have and what they want. You have to get them to start dreaming about the next house. And when you get good at this, and I will coach you through it, when you get really good at this, your next step after this appointment, after this is done, is to get them in the car out there looking at property. It's not to list their house. That is the biggest mistake a realtor can make is, ooh, I got a live one. I'm coming back listing paperwork. No. You've got to get them in the car and out there dreaming and looking at property. Now, sometimes you do put the cart before the horse, so you just got to kind of fill out the situation with each client. But now you've got them dreaming. You're still on the front porch. Let's go back to the moment where you're there with the bag. Okay, you're there on the front porch. You've got them dreaming. Okay, you know what? I saw a property the other day that meets that criteria. I'm sure I could find you something. I would love to show you property. Use words like love and hope and awesome and exciting. These are trigger words. These are words that get people excited about you and about selling their house. See, the number one reason why people don't sell their house is change. They don't like change. You have to understand your client. You have to understand what their fears are. You have to understand what their wants are, what their desires are. And you've got to overcome those fears and help them achieve their desires, what they want. So what's their number one fear? Well, I don't think I can find what I want. I'm picky. Well, this may be true. I've seen this with move-up buyers. You got a seller who has a house, they've got their mortgage, they've got their stuff in it, they're living in it, and you're trying to tell them, I want you to pack all this up in boxes, get a U-Haul, and move away from this home that you've known, even though you don't want it no more. You told me you don't want it anymore. I want you to do all that. Well, there's a process involved in doing that. You know, people don't just wake up and call a realtor. There's a process involved. When Dwayne and I decided to move to Florida, there was a process involved. Most people think that we just made this decision overnight and we moved. No, this started last June, literally at the beginning of last June. And it literally was a 13-month process before we finally closed on this house. And we knew it was going to be long and drawn out. And there was a part of us that kind of hammered. And that's why we didn't put a contract in until when? the end of November. So it was all of June, July, August, September, October, and November. 6 months it took us from the first thought of moving, selling our house and moving. It took us 6 months to finally pull the trigger and contract. So your client, these people out here, they're no different. They're no different than you and I. They lay in bed and they think about these things. So you've got to get your foot in the door. You have got to warm them up. And you start with a warm loaf of bread. So here's what they're going to do. And you know you got them on the hook when they do this. And I just love it. I try so hard not to laugh. I just get so tickled. So I got my name tag on, remember? I'm dangling the bag. They're looking at my name tag. They're looking at my bag. Then they look at my face. Name tag, bag, face. They always do it in that order because their brain is trying to process what's happening. Here's this bubbly, energetic, country bumpkin realtor girl showed up on my door with a gift bag, and she's talking all kinds of stuff, and I was just doing the dishes. What in the world? But you kind of come in like that, and it does. It flips their world upside down a little bit. But when they invite you in the house, that's almost a home run, people. And I would say probably 1 out of 4 will invite you in the house. And that is when I know I've got them. Because they invite you in the house to look at the floors they put in. And they want to show you the new kitchen that they just put in. And, oh, we got new windows and new carpet. Now, word of caution here. You have to use wisdom with going into someone's house like that, okay? If you're a female and it's a man, and it doesn't seem like there's anybody else there, you can come up with a reason. Well, I would love to come in at this time, but unfortunately I have other appointments and I don't have time for that, but I would love to schedule a time. Sometimes you do have to blow it off. I mean, sometimes when you get that feeling like, this is not good, just abort mission. Just abort mission. Now, I'll tell you one time I aborted mission is dogs. I love animals, don't get me wrong, but this one time, you know, you don't know what the property looks like a lot of times till you get there. You don't know how long the driveway is. You don't know if it's visible from the road or if there's neighbors next door. You just don't know a lot of these things. So you have to use wisdom with that. And you definitely don't want to go at nighttime. I'll go over when you should go here in a minute. But I went this one time and it was a hill and it went up and around and the house was on top of a mountain. And even as I'm going up the road, I'm thinking, this is probably not a good idea. But at that point, I really couldn't back down because it was kind of narrow and steep. So I finally get to the top and I'm like, oh, this is a really nice house. I wouldn't mind getting this listing. It had an amazing view. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm already up here. Yeah, let's go to the door. And so thank God, you know, he wasn't a serial killer or something because nobody would have ever heard or seen what happened. But I go to the door and it was one of those, they had their main door open, but they had their glass screen door shut. And it was one of those full glass screen doors. And I knock on the door and no sooner did I knock, I see this huge dog. I mean, he had to be 130 pounds. He was coming hard, just barreling towards that door. And I thought, he's going to come through the glass and he's going to attack me. And even if he doesn't come through the glass, I don't want to be standing on the porch when the man opens the door to talk to me. So abort mission. And I hightailed it to the car. And right about the time I got to the car, he opened the door and guess what came out? The dog. And he's trying to talk to me from the porch as this dog's coming at me. And I said, oh, never mind. Thank you. Bye. I got in the car and shut the door. Right about that time, the dog's head is like at my glass. So you have to use caution. If there is a fence separating you from the front door, it's a pretty good chance there's a dog in that yard. I wouldn't risk it. There's just sometimes it's just not worth the risk. Just forget that house like it didn't exist and move on. It's just not worth it. But when they do invite you in, that is a shoe in. And I have gotten more listings of people inviting me in and they show me around. People love to show you their house. They love to show you their house. Let them talk about their house. Let them talk about the memories they had in the house. The more that you get them to talk about themselves and their house and their dreams and what they want, they're going to love you. And guess what? They're going to call you to list. And if you follow up with them, which I highly, highly recommend, if you don't follow up, somebody else will. And if they went to your site, they're going to other people's site too. So back to the bag. I told you I was going to tell you more about the refrigerator magnet. So there have been many, and I can't even count on my hands how many times I have been sitting at someone's kitchen table doing the listing paperwork, and I look over and guess what's on the fridge? My refrigerator magnet. Now you're thinking, why would people put a realtor's refrigerator magnet on the refrigerator? Well, number one, they like that person and they want to remember how to get a hold of them, but not usually. No, it's just like a business card. They throw it away or they lose it. Maybe you really wanted to call this person, but now you've done forgot how you even met them or whatever, right? So that's why I'm saying business cards aren't that effective in this particular situation. I will share in a different training when they are effective. But the reason they keep them is because it has a to-do list on it. Do you know how many people are in the kitchen and they realize, oh, I'm out of milk, oh, I'm out of eggs, I'm out of bread. They go to the store, they're like, well, I'm out of something. What is it? Oh, I can't remember. Well, people like grocery lists and to-do lists and little notepads like that. And if it's a refrigerator magnet, even better because it doesn't get stuck in a drawer. They know if they put it on the fridge, they can just go over there and jot down real quick what they need. And the next time they go to the store, they rip it off and take it with them. And that's why they love it. And that's why it is such an important tool to put in this bag. Because let's face it, they're going to eat the loaf of bread and it's going to be gone. And they're going to have forgotten about it and they're going to forget about you. They're going to fold this bag up and put it in a drawer or throw it away. That little piece of paper that you put how much their home was worth on, and they were super excited because you said you could sell it in 30 days for $300,000 and it had your name and number on it. Guess what? It's going to get thrown away or lost. It just happens. But that refrigerator magnet, nope. It will stay with the house. It will never leave the fridge until the notepad is empty. And if the notepad is empty, they probably aren't selling the house because people really don't go through those that fast. So it is a very important tool. If you don't get anything else from this live tonight, you want to invest in the refrigerator, business card magnet, notepads. I want to say it's magnet.com, but I'll find it for you and I'll post it in the group later. And for those of you who joined late, these are just little cheap bags you get at the Dollar Tree, 3 for $1. They come in multiple different colors. I will also post later in the group the actual flyer that I use that I put in the bags that you can tweak it to however you want. It is a Microsoft document. In the past, when I've done this training and shared it, people just typically just use it the way it is because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So basically, in a nutshell, this concept gets your foot in the door, literally. You want to get face-to-face with your leads as quickly and effectively as possible, because the reality is people do business with people they know and people they've met. And just because you had a really good phone conversation with them, just because they jumped on your calendar through the system, does not mean that they're going to call you. Doesn't mean they're going to remember you. Doesn't mean that when they do decide 3 months or 4 months or 6 months down the road to list their house, now what was that girl's name that called me, or what was that guy's name? They're not even going to worry about it. They're going to go to Facebook. They're going to type in, who do you recommend as a realtor? And then they're going to get blown up with 100 different names, and whichever name stands out the most is who they're going to contact, because you did not get in front of them. You didn't make a lasting impression. If you show up to the door with this gift bag with some kind of sweet treat in it. Don't get anything with nuts. People have nut allergies, and you will blow the deal if you give something with nuts to somebody with nut allergies. Even if they don't eat it, they get offended. Like, you were supposed to know that. Just don't put anything with nuts in it. They will put that refrigerator magnet on their refrigerator, and they won't think twice about going to social media because they met you. They liked you. 1 out of 4 of them invited you in the house. Whether they remember what was on that paper or not, they're going to remember that they liked what was on the paper. They're going to remember that. See, people don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. If you made them feel good about the situation, good about their house, don't go in. If they invite you in, don't start basically having a pre-listing appointment telling them what they need to do to change their house. You know, even if they ask you, it's really tough. I know. Well, what do you think we should do to the house? Well, you don't want to blow the deal on the very first appointment. You know, you don't want to say, well, this brown paneling is kind of hideous. I would paint it. Or you got 5,000 family photos up and you need to take all those down because that's not going to work. You can't do that on your first impression, you know, when you first walk in. Just focus on the things that are right, you know. Oh, I love these hardwood floors that you have in here. I wouldn't change them at all. You know, just focus on the good. Make them feel good about the house and the situation. And then you have a better chance of them calling you. Because if you start rattling off things that you don't like about the house that they need to change, what they just heard was, I got a lot of work ahead of me to get this house ready. Or, I'm never going to get this house in the condition that I need to sell it. They give up. They instantly give up. You don't want to do that. You got to baby step them. You got to baby step them a little bit. So basically, in a nutshell, door knocking is just a way to get in front of people. I do not recommend cold calling. Absolutely not. That is not the kind of door knocking I'm talking about. You are not a door-to-door salesperson. You are a real estate professional, and you are there at their door because they indicated at some point through some means that they want to sell their house. Whether it was an expired or withdrawn, they wanted to sell their house and it didn't sell. If they were a lead that hit your website, they were interested in what their home was worth. They want to sell their house. There has to be some trigger that led you to them, that caused you to look up their information and to prepare a gift bag for them. You know, at the end of the day, this is going to cost you probably about $3.50 by the time you factor in the bag, the bakery item, the refrigerator magnet, the piece of paper with the ink on it, you know, however you want to, you know, total it up. And you're going to probably, on any given Saturday, you're going to probably knock on about 10 doors. Out of those 10 doors, probably 5 to 6 of them are not even going to be home. You're not even going to have 10 conversations. I'm just telling you right now, you're not. On a good Saturday, you're going to have 4 good conversations. And out of those 4, you're going to have 1 to 2 that, if you follow up properly, is going to turn into a listing. And sometimes sooner than not. For example, this one time I went out door knocking, and I had been out all day, and this was probably, I don't know, I've probably done this at least a dozen times at this point. So I was pretty used to how the numbers pan out and stuff. I'd only had one really good conversation that day. I actually share about this in my upcoming book about real estate. And, you know, I've already went through like 6 or 7 people on my list, and they wasn't home. And I'm thinking, I don't want to go home until I've had at least 2 good conversations. I've got to have at least 2 good conversations, or this day was a bust. Well, it was kind of, you know, it was kind of front loaded and back loaded. Like, I had one good conversation at the beginning of the day and one towards the end of the day. But what happened with this particular property was I went down the street, and it was actually a road, not a street. And I'd never been on this road before. And it was kind of taking me out in the country a little bit. And I'm thinking, oh, well, this is nice. You have some nice properties out here. And I pull up to the property and I get out and I'm walking up and I'm looking at the house. I'm evaluating the house before I even get to the door. Do I want this listing? Absolutely, I want this listing. I could probably sell this for $250,000. And this is very well manicured. And this is a great property out here in the country. So I knock on the door, no answer. And I don't leave the gift bag. If they're not home, I do not leave the gift bag. But I do leave the flyer. So I'll take the flyer out of the bag and I'll put it in the door. Because you just never know. You just never know, right? You're there. You're already there. The flyer is pertaining to their property. But don't leave the gift bag on the door. I used to leave the gift bag on the door, and then one time I did, and the people were out of town on vacation, and they came home to a rotted loaf of bread, which almost felt evil, like somebody had played a cruel joke on them, and my name was attached to it because my refrigerator magnet was inside. No, don't leave it on the door. Bad idea. Waste of time and money. So I put it in the door, and back, I get sidetracked, sorry. So I put the flyer in the door, and right about then I hear a gunshot come from behind the house, and I'm like, oh no, that ain't good. I shut the door. I tailed it to the car. I'm about as fast as I did with that dog. I get in the car and I leave. I did not even make it to the next house, which was maybe 5 minutes down the street, when I get a phone call. And it's a man, and he goes, Miss Roberts? And I said, yes. He goes, this is Mr. Perryman. You just came to my house and you left the flyer in the door. I'm thinking, oh, this isn't going well. And he goes, well, we've been thinking about selling our house. And I'm so glad you came by. I'm sorry I missed you. I'm thinking, okay. Well, that ended up turning into a listing, and I sold the house in 24 hours for $250,000. I also turned around and sold them a $230,000 house. Then 2 years later, the neighbor, the immediate next door neighbor, called me to sell their house because I sold the house so fast. They took one of the flyers out of the Take One box, and we'll go into more of that in a different training, why that's important. But he took one of the flyers out of the Take One box and kept it for 2 years. Crazy story. He calls me, and I sold his house for $260,000. So that one day of door knocking that I thought was a bust made me a lot of money. I think it was well over $20,000. I can't do the math that quick in my head, but it was well over $20,000. Oh, and the first conversation that I had earlier that day turned into a listing where I made $7,500. And then one of the properties that I had shown her, I left behind my business card on the seller's counter, because that's what we traditionally do in the Middle Tennessee market. And the seller, who a month later fired her realtor, contacted me because she liked my business card. And that was a $300,000 listing. So that one day of door knocking, I mean, I'd have to do the math, but I want to say it made me probably close to $40,000. One day of door knocking, because it's not just the listing that you're going to get. A lot of times they're buying another property, and guess what? They've got friends and family and neighbors and people that want to buy or sell real estate that they know, and people are always watching. They're always watching, just like that neighbor was watching to see how fast I sold that house and how much I sold it for, and he took note, and I got that listing 2 years later out of the blue. Had no idea it was even coming. But that's what happens when you get out there and you door knock. Activity breeds results. If you're not making phone calls and following up with people and going out and door knocking and networking and staying in touch with your leads and doing everything you can physically do to stay in touch with them and to make an impression and to get their business, then why are you in real estate? I'm just being honest. This is a business of constant connection, constant follow-up. You need a follow-up system. Now, if you're going out and you're door knocking every single Saturday and you're having 1 or 2 or 3 good conversations, in about 6 weeks, they're all going to be swimming together in your mind. You're not going to know who you talked to. You're not going to remember what was said. What I would do when I got back in the car after having a conversation with somebody is I would go and I would write down everything they told me about their kid, their dog, their house, their time frame. If it came out of their mouth, I wrote it down. And when I got home, I put it in my CRM. If you don't know what a CRM is, it's a contact relationship manager. And that is where I would keep up with it all. That way, a month from now, when I've called them for the 5th time, I can go back and look at all my notes. Oh, hey, how's Julie doing? Did she graduate? And did everything go good with that? You had your graduation party? Because they told me they didn't want to sell the house until after their oldest daughter, Julie, graduated and they had the graduation party. Okay, there it is. There's a reason we do these things. You want to be personable. And things like this come across as personable. You don't know how many people I've gotten referrals from people that I gave a gift bag to, and they asked me, where's my gift bag? You gave my friend Charlene a gift bag. Do I get one too? That was a $2.50 loaf of bread. Who cares? Can they not go and get it themselves? But they like that because it's personable. Sometimes it's the simple things in life. It's just the simple things. Now, some of you might be introvert. You might be scared to go out door knocking. There are some safety things that you need to know. Number one, if you are female, you need to let someone know your route, where you're going to be. You need to touch base with them. I don't care if it's your husband or your friend or your mom, dad, I don't know, your broker, somebody. Let somebody know, I am door knocking this Saturday from this time to this time. These are the addresses, and, you know, have a safe word, maybe even a safe word. I would try to convince Dwayne to come with me, and he knew that it was a good use of time. Maybe you split the deals with another agent in your office. You know, maybe you go to your friend who's, you know, also not, maybe they don't have as many listings or something. You say, hey, this is something that I want to start doing. And, you know, we will co-list everything that we get from this. And we'll take turns going to the door, or we'll go to the door together, and we'll take turns introducing ourselves. And eventually what happens is you get really good at it, and you get really fluid with it, and the butterflies and the nerves go away. And then you wake up Saturday morning and you're excited about door knocking because you know it's money-making day. You are about to make some money. Because every time you go out, you have a conversation and you follow up with them and you get that business. And after about a month or two, you're continually getting that business from the activity. And next thing you know, you're going to have a 6-figure year. You're going to break through that ceiling. And it's something as simple as going out and door knocking, overcoming your fear. Don't, you know, people talk about rejection. Well, I don't like to be rejected. If somebody was to be mean or reject you in some way, shape, or form, which is very, very rare, it literally has nothing to do with you. Literally has nothing to do with you. They don't know you. They don't know how awesome you are. They don't know how good you are as a realtor. They don't know the resources that you have to sell their house. They just have no idea. And if they are ugly to you, when you go to the door, they didn't even give you a chance to explain who you are and why you're there, you don't want to do business with them anyway because they got some character issues that's going to cause you problems during the process. So you don't want that person anyway. I can honestly say I can't even count on one hand the people that have been ugly to me. I think the most ugly anybody ever was to me was they came to the door, and you could tell they were obviously busy. And I just called him at a bad time. He answered the door. He goes, oh, no, not interested. And he shut the door. He didn't even know who I was. He didn't even know why I was there. And I grumbled something hateful as I walked away. You stupid blah, 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 whatever. Because it offended me a little bit, But I got in the car and I thought, you know what? Forget him. He is not stealing my joy. He is not ruining my day. I'm going to go have some very good conversations with some other people and forget him. He just saved me a lot of time and energy. And that was that. That is the absolute worst thing, with the exception of the dog, that ever happened. So a lot of times you think it's going to be really bad, but it's not. It's actually fun because you're getting out and meeting people and you're having good conversations. But you definitely want to be safe. Like I said, if you're a female and a man invites you into the house, come up with some reason why not to. And if you feel that he's getting too close to you or he's coming on to you or something, just leave. Don't worry about being rude to somebody. If they're getting in your space or they're, doing something that makes you uncomfortable, it's okay. It's okay just to walk away and forget that person and that listing. You don't have to get every single deal that comes across your table. I did have one uncomfortable situation, and I'm sharing these with you because I want you to be safe. I don't know everybody's market. I don't know what is or is not acceptable in your market. I know that where I was door knocking was Nashville. It was a very busy city. And so there is some crime in Nashville, and it helps to know your neighborhoods. It's better to stay in the suburbs, but a lot of you do. You work in cities, so you have to be careful. Dwayne was with me this time, thank God. He was in the car, and I went up, and the man invited me in his house, and he was an older man. I'm going to say probably late 70s. So I thought, I'm not worried about some old man hurting me. So I walk in his house. He locks the door and puts the chain on. And my heart dropped to my stomach. And I thought to myself, I started looking around the room for something I can grab and hit him over the head with, just in case. But I was very uncomfortable. And, I thought he was going to show me around the house, but he didn't. We just stood there in the living room and talked. And I told him, I said, well, my husband's in the car and he's waiting on me, and we have more appointments to go to. Now, he did not know if my husband was or was not in the car, but maybe the fact that I said that, if he was up to no good, could have potentially saved my life. So honestly, I would just avoid going into houses with if you don't feel comfortable, just don't go in. Just don't go in. At some point, if you get the listing, you are going to go into the property. And if you had made the listing appointment, so somebody did a laugh face. That must have been when I talked about hitting them over the head. But at some point, you are going to go in the property. So if you don't feel comfortable with them on the porch talking to them, you probably don't want the listing anyway, so it's probably just better to blow it off. A couple more things. If I'm talking to somebody on the porch and I know that they're not selling, or I don't want to represent them, or I don't like the property, there's just no way that my name is ever going on this listing, they don't get the bag. They don't. They just don't. And I don't care if it hurts their feelings or not. Maybe you just don't even say anything about the bag. It's there. They're kind of wondering, is that for me? And then you leave with it. And then they go in the house and they're like, she didn't give me the bag. Wonder what was in the bag. Well, you shouldn't have told me you wasn't selling the house, because now you done messed up. You ain't getting the gift back. And I keep it, because I used to give them away because I kind of felt like I needed to. But if you're giving away, 10 of these a month, I mean, after a while, it starts to add up. Over a year's time, you've spent over $1,000 on these gift bags. And if you're not going to get a return on it, why waste your money? I don't care if it's just $3.50. Money doesn't grow on trees. So anyway, that's just another little thing. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else that you need to know about door knocking, other than just do it. It's made me a lot of money, guys. It's made me a lot of money. If you could just overcome your fear and get you a system down, it's going to take your business to the next level. You're combining the technology and all of this stuff that Dwayne and his team has put together. And then you combine old school techniques like just getting in front of them. You are going to do circles around the top producers in your office. There's absolutely no reason that you cannot have a six-figure year this year. And I'm talking about even now, if you're starting from zero, there's still no reason that you can't have a six-figure year this year. There really isn't. There's so much I could share with you. I alluded to a couple of things tonight about the take one boxes and leaving your business card and things. We're out of time. It's right at the hour mark. Dwayne told me to talk about this for an hour, and I wasn't even sure I could, but there you go. Hello. So but we will do some more. I'll do some more training on that. I am the listing queen. If there's anything to do with listings, I can tell you. I cut my teeth on buyers. I can tell you all about buyers, but I'm really good at listings, and Dwayne is really good at getting you the leads. So let's put the two together and let's make you some money. So I'm going to open it up right now. We still have quite a few people on here. Whoa, sorry I didn't say hi to everybody. I'm not really good at keeping up with all of this. Oh, wow, look at all the comments. Okay. Katie, thank you. Script would be great. Faye, yes, script would be great. Amanda, where did you order your fridge magnets? I've missed that. Okay. Dwayne Roberts, she's definitely back. Well, it's iron sharpening iron. Dwayne and I, we feed off of each other. We, prior to me meeting Dwayne, I had never met anyone that could outsell me, male or female of any age. And when I met him, we actually met through work about 18 years ago. We were working with the same company, and I was the top salesperson in the company, and I also had the top district. I was the district manager for Sealy mattresses, and I had took a very poor, depressed area in Virginia and made it the top stores in the company. And then Dwayne decides that he's going to come work for the company, and he got 6 stores in Nashville and started doing circles around me, and I'm like, who is this guy? And so that's how we met. And of course, you know, I had to marry him because he could outdo me. Nobody else could. I didn't want to be hustling the rest of my life. I'm just playing. But yes, we've learned a lot throughout the years, and I am the softer side of Sears. I will sit and talk to people about their cats and their dogs and their dreams and their pool in the backyard and all this stuff, and then they just end up listing with me. Whereas Dwayne, he kind of goes in like Mr. Salesman, you know, and some people appreciate that. Some people like that. Those type people respond better to him than me. But yeah, we do work together. It's just so funny. How do you say your name? Kasturi? I'm horrible with names, sorry. Anybody got any questions about door knocking? I will provide links and scripts and things to the best of my ability. I'm sure they're on one of these laptops I have here. I'm going to leave it open for just a few more minutes. If anybody has any questions. See if I can't see it on this screen. I have to see it over here. I did mention my book that I'm writing earlier, and what? I know. I have it open for questions. Like, I don't know. It's been 1 hour. I said that right. You're welcome, Barbara. I am in the process of writing a book. I wanted to call it The Diary of a Mad Suburban Realtor or something like, yeah, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. What is that? Was that a movie or something? I was going to call it Diary of a Mad Crazed Realtor or something like that. My husband's like, no, we're not calling it that. But I am giving that away free to everyone. It will be an ebook, not a physical book, free. That costs money. To everybody that is a modern digital agent who's in our group, all of our students will get a free copy of that. In the future, we are going to charge for that. It's going to be funny. I share a lot of my personal stories, but I extract the lessons that I learned through those situations and how to handle them properly. You know, over the years, I had a broker actually fire me about 10 years ago. She said I didn't play well with others because I got mad and told a realtor how to do her job because she wasn't doing her job. And she said, my broker said, you don't play well with others. I think you need to go work for a bigger brokerage where things like this fall through the cracks. I'm thinking, 20% of agents do 80% of the business, and the other 80% are the people like this. And I'm being penalized. It ended up being a blessing in disguise. But anyway, so that's in there. It's a hilarious story. But anyway, that is it. Doesn't look like anybody has any questions, and we are 5 minutes over. So feel free to message me if you have any questions later on. Again, give me about 24 hours to put my hands on all these links and things. I will post them in the group for you guys to use. Feel free to message me anytime if you have questions about that. If you don't remember where I told you to get certain things, you know, feel free to message me. I'm here to help. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and hopefully I'll be hearing some success stories of your door knocking. But remember, be safe and be aware at all times. Thanks, guys. See you later.